Move to the open debate. I call for Stuart McMillan to be followed by Carol Mochan. Around 4 minutes, Mr McMillan.
Thank you very much, Presiding Officer. Presiding Officer, first I want to thank Pam Gossel for securing this debate and the last one of the year in the Chamber. Now, thinking of Christmas, I'm sure that many drivers across Scotland have made their Christmas wish for all the potholes across the country to be repaired. But I can't comment on the council roads in East Dunbartonshire that Pam Gossel has got indicated in her motion. But I'm going to focus upon the trunk roads in my own constituency. Now, during the pandemic, Amy took over the maintenance of the South West trunk roads maintenance contract for the A8 and the A78. Now, Amy have been a breath of fresh air. Now, this it's not just in relation to the greater investment in the network over the past 3 years, but also the engagement that I've actually had with them. My staff have had with them too. As highlighted in my general question earlier today, that most of the near 5 miles of trunk road between Park Lane, Port Glasgow and the Building Roundabout in Greenock in both directions have been resurfaced over the past 2 years. There's also been resurfacing projects on the A78. Now, this has been welcomed by my constituents. However, when resurfacing significant stretches of roads does take place, whether it's in my area or anywhere else in the country, roadworks are going to be unavoidable, and sometimes that can cause some frustrations with drivers, especially as, certainly locally, some felt as if there were too many roadworks at the one time. However, this wasn't always the fault of Amy. It was a mix of the situation that they inherited, as well as the year-long Scottish Water Flood Investment Project along the A8, which is something that I led the campaign for. So I was delighted to actually see investment going into the road infrastructure and also the flooding infrastructure within my constituency. So I'm not going to suggest that there are no potholes in Inverclyde, quite the contrary, because there are. But the reality is that I receive more complaints about the length of time it takes to travel, to drive from Weems Bay to Port Glasgow, as compared to what I get with regards to potholes. Now, that wasn't always the case, because certainly Inverclyde has got 2 trunk roads, A78 and A8, and those are the main arteries of my area. Certainly, just on the local aspect once again, I mean, only a couple of months ago I held a round-table meeting with regards to the road infrastructure and pavement infrastructure we have. And Inverclyde Council were there, Amy were there, as well as the bus operators and folk from ScotRail and Network Rail, just to give some examples. And this was because of the example that Pam Goss was talking about a few moments ago with regards to constituents who might be disabled. And this was raised, specific points were raised with me. So get folk in the room, around a table, to try to have that dialogue to try to make things better and improve the outcomes for all the constituents in my constituency. My challenge to Amy and others in charge of maintaining the roads is to actually keep on top of the maintenance. So in addition, my office staff and I regularly will report some of the smaller defects to Amy. And Inverclyde Council used to have its own app, and it was a great tool to actually go and highlight this stuff, but they've stopped that app. But they're looking at something else. But certainly, if people report things timorously to Amy, then they have shown and they have proven they are going out to get these things fixed in a very quick fashion, which is something I warmly welcome. So returning to Pam Gossel's motion and the aspect regarding local authority roads, I do note that Pam Gossel's challenge to the Scottish Government, and also the Minister will reply obviously on behalf of the Scottish Government, but I gently say to Pam Gossel, the Scottish Government are proposing in the budget to provide local authorities with an extra £1 billion. Now, I would urge Pam Gossel to support the budget and lobby local authorities in the West Scotland region to spend more money on roads. Now, I'm sure we can all agree that we would like to see more invested in roads. We'd like to see more invested in many policy areas. But this Parliament has got limited powers. It's got limited financial powers. And with that limited budget, then this Parliament has got political choices to make. Now, I'm not sure if Pam Gossel had lobbied her previous UK Conservative Government for additional resources for this Parliament to be spent on roads. However, if we didn't need to wait for the block grant every year, then maybe our situation would be somewhat different. So just to conclude with, Presiding Officer, I do want to put in my record my thanks to all the staff who work in the trunk roads and also local authority roads daily. They will be out over the festive period, in all weather conditions, working to keep our roads safe. And I wish them and everyone in the chamber today and all my constituents a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.